Okay, so in the box of the Flint, it's a very nice, cool sort of packaging. You've got your sort of normal information that you'd have stand on the back. You've got that typical Geekvape orange coming through there. And then, yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to slide it out. You've got your lovely Geekvape sort of, I don't even know how to describe that, but yeah, you got one of those. And then as you lift that lid off, there you have it. You have your Geekvape Flint kit. So what you have here is you have your tank, you have your battery, and then you've got a spare glass here too, which is always a nice addition to have. So yeah, the battery is extremely small. So in terms of like, I'm not kidding, it is actually ridiculously small. So you've got a 510 connector there on the top. You're going to have your serial number. You've got, yeah, designed by Geekvape, the name of the Flint there. And then when you flip it over, you've got your ventilation here. So it's very, very simple. You've got your your micro USB charger port here as well. Mine doesn't quite line up as I would like it to, but I've not had a single issue in terms of charging. And you've got a really nice Geekvape sort of branding here. And then you also have the very clicky button. So yeah, that's always very nice to have. You have, like as I said here, your little tank. So once again, when I say little, I mean little. It's a 2 ml capacity. The drip tip is non-removable, therefore if you don't like it, fortunately that's what you're stuck with, but I've not had a single issue with that as well. It's got a very nice little sliding fill and slide back, obviously, to lock it back up, and with that as well, I've had this thing in my pocket, I've had this thing pretty much here, there and everywhere. I've not had a single leak, and that top has never slid open on me, so that's very nice. And also you have this here, so you got 5 different levels of airflow. You've got number 1, which is ridiculously small. I say ridiculously small, it's not overly tiny, tiny, but then obviously as you go along, it gets increasingly larger. 2, 3, oh hang on a minute, I've missed one. So yeah, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, which pretty much fills out that entire hole there. So when you go in terms of going deeper into the box, as I say, you do get your spare glass here. However, it's literally just a spare glass, doesn't increase the capacity at all. At 2 ml, I vape mine fairly regularly, and I tend to get about 2 days out of a tank. So it's not bad at all, and that's using obviously for Nick salts. And when you go deeper into the box, you get your Flint kit user manual. You also have like your warranty card. I have taken mine out, but you do get a spare coil. So you get a 1.2 ohm coil. It gets fitted with a 1.6, and then you also get your spare rubber bands and O-rings, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, other than that, there isn't really much else that you need. And you get this, which obviously tells you do not eat. So yeah, make sure you don't eat that, even if you're a bit peckish. Now, in terms of the tank itself, I've found the tank very, very good. I've not had any issues. As I say, I've not had any sort of leaking. I've had no issues in terms of like the tank becoming unscrewed. The 510s on the 510 thread connection is really nice. It's also quite nice that you have the ability to put a different tank on there if that's what you would like to do. However, obviously they're designed to go together, and it's quite cool that you could put this on your 18650 and your standard mods. I mean, in terms of the power that goes through this, I'll just show you. So you get a little light here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it will start flashing. So when a light is flashing green, it's at the highest power setting, which is 9 watts. You tap it 3 times, it will go down, so you see it in red there, so that's the lower setting, which is 7 watts, and then it'll go to a blue light there, and that's for your 8 watts. So I've tried it on the different power settings. Personally, I've just always had it on the green. The battery sort of has lasted me around about two and a half days. So you're not, because you're not pumping out massive wattage from this, and obviously you're not got ridiculously high ohms or anything. So it's all round. It's a very, very nice kit. Now, what I have done is I have used the 1.6 ohm coil, which is the one that comes pre-installed. So although there's a bit of liquid residue in there, I've actually just fitted the 1.2 ohm coil. Now, the difference that they say between the two is that you are supposed to use the 1.6 for the higher levels of nick salt, higher milligram, and then you use the 1.2 for the lower milligram of nick salt. I've looked at a couple of other reviews on this, as I'm sure many people will do or have done, and they say that majoritively it doesn't matter which coil you use. It's just basically down to personal preference. Now, the 1.6 ohm coil that I had in here, I did use that for about 5 days. I use stuff like RTAs, so so in terms of coil longevity, I'm not too sure what that is in comparison to other mouth to lung sort of tanks. But with that, I'm sure you guys, if you are regular mouth to lung tank users, then stock coil users, you'll be able to sort of take a gauge from that. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to juice this up. I'm going to leave it 10 minutes, and then I will unpause this video, and I will come back up top, and then we shall sort of get my review on the 1.2 coil. Okay, so having given it ample time to wick, today I will sort of combine the two. So I've loaded this up with, if it will focus, yeah, double drip nick salt mango raspberry ice cream. So yeah, I haven't actually had this flavour before, so it's sort of like a cool little double take. Now, just because measurements, to me, someone can give you the measurements, but unless you've got something that you use every day that you can really compare that to, it doesn't really mean a lot. So just for a size comparison quickly, that is the mod next to a 10ml bottle of vape juice. So it is extremely portable, slides in your pocket. You've got no issues in terms of portability. And so yeah, a couple of things that I didn't hit on. So as I think a good reviewer should do, I've got a whole load of paper notes. So yeah, as I said, the tank, it's 2ml. Without the tank on top, the mod itself is smaller than a 10ml bottle of vape juice. Just for size comparisons, I did write down the numbers, but like I say, it's just not important. Varying things online in terms of the milliamp hours, like the size of the battery. So some places say 950, others say 1000. On the box it says 1000, so I will take the box as being correct. And yeah, it's available in 4 different colours. So this is the gunmetal. You also have it in black, a cool sort of metallic blue, and then also a rainbow as well. Personally, I just like all black everything, so that's what I went for. I originally went for black, wasn't in stock, so gunmetal it was. Now, it is classed as IPX5, which is sort of like the level of resistance. So IP is, I'm not too sure what that stands for. X is normally where there would be a number for the number of different types of substance that it's resistant to, but when they don't know, they just replace that with an X, hence the IPX. And then 5 is the level of water resistance. I will say water resistance, not waterproof, because it is basically it's resistant to water coming at multiple different angles. However, that's at low pressure, so don't sit with a garden hose and get sprayed with it or anything like that, but basically it just means you can vape it in the rain, sort of thing. I have vaped it in the rain, and yeah, it still works. Took a couple of pictures where I've put the bottom of the ventilation is like into the snow to get a couple of pics, and yeah, that, as I say, is still working absolutely fine. So you should be fine for your average sort of day-to-day use. However, I wouldn't, as I say, recommend like vaping it in the shower or anything weird like that. If that's what you're into, then I'm pretty sure an Aegis would probably do it better. But yeah, going back to sort of trying to combine the two reviews. So yeah, I've had some double drip flavors before. They are pretty damn good, if I'm completely honest. Some people, as I say, it's all personal preference, but I do like their flavors. Mango raspberry ice cream isn't something that I would probably normally go for, if I'm honest. Not sure why, but the ice cream sort of gives me the impression that it's going to give like a Coolada sort of flavouring. It's not something that I'm overly into myself, but I haven't actually tried this yet. As I say, I just gave it enough time to wick up, so we shall give it a go. Oh, that's actually really, really nice. Yeah, so I had it on the blue, which was the medium, but I've just put it up to the green, as you can see there. So yeah, you can hear the sort of the crackle. Now, it's nice. The mango and the raspberry goes together really, really well. Getting great flavour off of the 1.2 coil. So yeah, it is a really, really, really nice juice actually. I've got it in 10 milligram. I'm not too sure what strengths they go up to. I've been vaping sort of 18, 20 sort of milligram nic salts. So a 10 milligrams actually a nice little change, takes away from the sort of the heaviness of it. Yeah, I've got this on the third airflow at the moment, so sort of like the middle point in terms of airflow. Getting some good flavour, not getting much sort of resistance in terms of how tight the pull is. However, if I wanted to, then you could put it down, so like on number 1. Very much like a cigarette. You do get a bit, obviously because it's a bit more resistant, the vapour itself, it gives you a bit more of a throat hit, because you're not pulling in as much air to sort of dilute that down. On number 2, yeah, it's still getting a little bit of that sort of that throaty feeling, but it's not as intense as it is on the smaller airflow. So I had it on number 3, so it's nice and smooth. You get pretty much on the 10 milligram for myself anyway, you're getting fairly minimal throat hit, but obviously you are still getting the 10 milligram. I put it up to number 4. So for me, that's a bit too airy. Not for what I would be looking for from a mouth to lung. It's diminishing on the flavour, and also it's like quite airy. But on number 5, I'll do it just because I've done the other 4. Yeah. Obviously, it'll produce a bit more vapor purely because you're mixing it with a bit more air, so it allows the vapor to spread more when you're exhaling. But for me, that's a bit too much. I would definitely, personally, I'd say start on the 3, and then it gives you light, which is the middle, and then it gives you sort of leeway and a bit of insight into which direction you'd like to put it in personally. But yeah, the coil gives amazing flavour. With the coils, once again, just to put a coil into perspective for you, that is a coil next to a 10ml bottle of juice. So it is very, very, very small. In relation to the actual mod itself, it stands literally just a little bit above the actual drip tip height. And that's from where the drip tip actually starts, because there is like a little indented, like a little sort of step here. But if you put it on the actual step itself, yeah, it's really, really small. You're looking at like less than a segment of my little finger. But yeah, overall, I'm very, very impressed with the Geekvape Flint, and I'm very, very nicely surprised by the double drip as well. Because, as I say, it's not normally a flavour that I'd go for. The mango does come out quite prominent. The raspberry is sort of like an undertone, but it makes for a very nice mix. The ice cream bit, it gives you sort of a tiny, and I mean for me, tiny bit of sort of like a Coolada flavouring or cool hit. But as I say, for me, I don't normally enjoy Coolada at all. So if it's something that you're really into, I don't think it's going to give you as much of a cold sort of vape as you would be expecting. I guess if you wanted to, you could tighten up the airflow a bit, and that way the flavour becomes a lot more prominent, and that would then sort of intensify the Coolada effect that you're going to get from the cooling effect you're going to get from the juice. But yeah, it is a brilliant kit. It's the first time I'm using the 1.2 coil. It was fresh in there for the review. The thing that I'm not so sure about is whether the lifespan of the 1.2 coil will be better or worse than the lifespan of the original 1.6 coil that was in there. I'm just sort of having like a look inside, and the thing is the coil looks all good still. I just didn't feel it was performing as well as it was in the first couple of days, which I guess you can expect. However, the intensity and the punchiness of the flavouring did diminish quite a lot. So I'm looking at the moment into, I'll put a post up after this review in terms of how I found the flavour over a couple of days in the 1.2 ohm coil. And then obviously that's a bit more of an insight rather than just the first impression. But the kit itself I've been using for about, I'd say probably about a week, maybe a little bit under. But I'm very impressed with it. Enjoyed it a lot. I've been using this instead of the Breeze 2, and I would definitely say that I would take a Geekvape Flint over a Breeze 2. I let a pal of mine try it. He's got the SV AIO, it's like a tiny little built-in sort of all-in, well, the AIO, yeah, so all in one. And yeah, he's now ordered one of these because he prefers this over that, and he's tried the Breeze as well. So he's in agreement with me. But yeah, let Poonam know. They come in, as I said, metallic, blue, black, gunmetal, and rainbow. And obviously she'll let you know what she's got in stock. And yeah, other than that, as I say, the juice is definitely a big thumbs up from me. The Flint is also a big thumbs up from me. It's really nice, portable. It's got a bit of weight to it, but it's nothing that you would nothing to grumble at. But yeah, as I say, great little pocket device. You can change the power on it, and 1 watt doesn't seem a lot, but at the resistance of the coils that you're looking at, 1 watt will make a lot of difference. And yeah, as I say, you can vape it in the rain, you can vape it sort of wherever you want. So, well, wherever it's legal to, just to sort of cover myself. But yeah, so as I say, that's a review there for you on the Geekvape Flint. I definitely recommend it. And other than that, hopefully you guys are enjoying the reviews. Pop something down in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, if there's anything information that you'd like me to add. And yeah, other than that, I shall see you on the next round.